Let's get right into it with the static whisper. I love the logline. It reads, a late-night radio host begins receiving calls from strangers who describe their worst nightmares, only to realize the callers are actually the victims from his own repressed childhood memories manifesting through supernatural. Static 46. So let's dive into the breakdown. First, we have our main character, Jack. He hosts a show called Night Owls. And at night, he takes calls from people who have insomnia. Every episode, there's a new person, and they just tell him about their lives or whatever is keeping them up. And one night, everything changes. Jack gets a call from someone who says, "You left me in the well, Jackie," and then they hang up. And when that happens, Jack can't continue the show. He has to sit there and listen to the static until morning. And then the next night, it happens again. But this time he gets a flashback to a dark well and a little girl's hand reaching up out of it. And he also hears the sound of something wet and crunchy breaking. And then these calls keep happening night after night, and they're all coming through the static. So Jack is forced to confront these memories and these strange messages and figure out what they mean and how to stop them. In terms of horror subgenres, I would say this is psychological horror, maybe even cosmic horror. Think like Hereditary meets The Ring 3. Okay, let's talk about the story structure and the pacing. So the beginning of the story is pretty slow. We're introduced to the setting and to Jack and to his show and to the whole idea that he gets these calls from people with insomnia. But then once the nightmare calls start coming in, the pacing picks up. Each scene is shorter than the last and there's more action and suspense. And then, at the end of the story, everything culminates in a really intense and terrifying climax. In terms of plot holes, there aren't really any that come to mind. The story is pretty straightforward and easy to follow. And the ending, while it might be ambiguous, is also pretty satisfying. I do want to note, though, that there's an opportunity here to explore themes of guilt, shame, repression, and the consequences of our actions. And I think that could add another layer of depth and meaning to the story. Next, let's talk about world building. The world of this story is pretty realistic. It's just a late-night radio show. There's not a lot of world building required. However, the story does take place in a mysterious town called Silent Creek, which suggests that there may be other secrets and mysteries lurking beneath the surface. Finally, let's talk about the characters. Jack is a pretty interesting character. He's a bit of a loner and he's haunted by his past, but he's also kind of arrogant and self-centered. And the other characters, the ones who call in, are all very different and unique. They all have their own stories and their own problems. And while some of them may seem a bit over the top or exaggerated, they're all still pretty believable. I especially like the use of the flashbacks and how they're incorporated into the story. It's a great way to build suspense and mystery and also to develop Jack's character. Now let's talk about the writing style. The story is written in present tense, which helps to create a sense of immediacy and suspense, and the descriptions are vivid and evocative. The story is also told from Jack's point of view, which helps us to connect with him and understand his thoughts and feelings. One thing that could be improved, though, is the dialogue. Some of the dialogue feels a bit unnatural or clunky. For example, the line, "We're all here now," doesn't really flow well. It's a bit awkward and doesn't sound like something a character would actually say. Overall, though, this is a well-written story that is both suspenseful and terrifying. The concept is original and well executed. The pacing is excellent. The characters are believable and the writing style is immersive. If you're looking for a scary story to read, I highly recommend The Static Whisperer. For those of you that are interested in learning more about horror, I'm going to leave some resources in the description below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so and turn on notifications. All right, now let's get into the feedback. First off, I really like the logline. It's clear, concise, and intriguing. You've successfully piqued my curiosity and made me want to learn more about this story. As for the format, I prefer short-form stories, so I'm happy to see that you chose a format that allows for quick pacing and immediate impact. Additionally, The formatting of the script is clean and easy to follow, which makes it a joy to read. Speaking of formatting, you've done a great job with the scene headings, action descriptions, and dialogue. Each scene flows seamlessly into the next, creating a smooth reading experience. And the dialogue sounds natural and believable, which is key to immersing the reader in your story. You've also done a great job with the sensory details. The descriptions of the setting and atmosphere are vivid and evocative, helping me to visualize the scenes and feel the emotions you're trying to convey. Your use of suspense is masterful. If you know how to build tension and keep me on the edge of my seat, the pacing is excellent. And the constant sense of dread and impending doom keeps me engaged and eager to find out what happens next. Also, I love the use of foreshadowing throughout the story. You drop little hints and clues that make me question what's going on and make me want to keep reading to find out if my suspicions are correct. Another thing I appreciate is the way you handle the supernatural elements. You don't explain everything, which leaves room for the reader's imagination to fill in the blanks. And this ambiguity adds to the story's overall creepiness and mystery. As for the ending, I thought it was satisfying without giving too much away. You tie up all the loose ends and provide closure for the story. Yet there's still a sense of ambiguity that leaves me with lingering questions. Overall, The Static Whisperer is a fantastic horror story. You've created a world that is both believable and terrifying, and I am thoroughly impressed. Here are my final ratings. For originality, I give it a 9. You've taken a familiar concept and put a unique spin on it that I haven't seen before. For creativity, I give it an 8. Your use of language, imagery, and atmosphere is creative and effective. For structure, I give it a 9. The story is well-paced and the plot moves forward naturally. For characters, I give it an 8. The characters are believable and relatable despite the fantastical elements. For setting, I give it a 9. The setting is vividly described and plays a crucial role in the story. For theme, I give it an 8. You explore complex themes with nuance and sophistication. For style, I give it an 8. Your writing is clear, concise, and evocative. And for overall impact, I give it a 9. The story is truly terrifying and will stick with me for a long time. And finally, for entertainment value, I give it a 9. I was genuinely scared while reading this story, and that is a testament to your writing ability. Before we wrap up, I want to thank you again for sharing your work with me. I truly appreciate it, and I'm honored to be one of the first to read your story. Remember, you have a gift for writing horror, and I can't wait to see what you do next. Keep writing, keep pushing yourself, and never give up on your dreams. And to everyone else watching, I hope you enjoyed this feedback as much as I enjoyed reading The Static Whisperer. If you have a story you'd like me to read and provide feedback on, please follow the submission guidelines linked below. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care and happy haunting.